Y&R's Cait Fairbanks gets engaged, and her love story is pure harmony. Y&R star Cait Fairbanks just got engaged. Inside the heartfelt moment and the love story that brought her to Yes. Cait Fairbanks has something joyful to celebrate off-screen. The young and the restless star, who portrays Tessa Porter, revealed she's officially engaged to her longtime boyfriend, musician and producer Jay Rudolph. Fairbanks shared a photo of her sparkling ring against vibrant fall foliage, followed by a sweet shot of the two of them glowing right after the proposal. Rudolph shared the same moment on his Instagram stories, captioning it simply, "She said yes." Key takeaways: Cait Fairbanks announced her engagement to musician Jay Rudolph. The couple has been together since 2020 and recently celebrated 5 years. Their real-life romance is thriving, even as Tessa faces turmoil on Y&R creative partnership that sparked love. Fairbanks has been a standout on Y&R since 2017, earning 3 Daytime Emmy nominations, 1 for acting and 2 for songwriting. Her musical talent extends beyond Genoa City, and Rudolph fits seamlessly into that world. He plays drums and keyboards, produces music, and has toured with artists like Weyesblood and Nick Waterhouse. Their relationship began in October 2020, and they've been documenting their milestones ever since. Last year, Fairbanks posted a collection of photos and videos honoring their anniversary. Goofy clips, red carpet moments, and glimpses of their everyday life. "Love my honey," she wrote. "Thanks for the best for years." Real-life joy while Tessa faces fictional turmoil. Fairbanks's real-life engagement stands in sharp contrast to the turmoil unfolding for Tessa on Y&R. While Tessa navigates a strained marriage with Mariah Cameron Grimes, including distance, trauma recovery, and a complicated kiss and growing relationship with Daniel Michael Graziade, Fairbanks is experiencing clarity, comfort, and celebration in her personal life. A yes that echoed like a melody. Cait Fairbanks has always been a woman who lived between worlds, half in the bright, chaotic hum of daytime television and half in the soft, introspective universe where her songwriting blooms. Fans know her as Tessa Porter, the ethereal singer whose voice helped turn The Young and the Restless's storyline of Mariah and Tessa into one of the most beloved romances in soap history. But on a crisp evening that felt like it had been plucked straight from a music video storyboard, Cait stepped firmly into a new chapter of her real-life love story. The engagement news broke gently, like a harmony slipping into an already beautiful chorus. A single photo, soft golden light, a ring catching a sunbeam, and a caption that read, "Nothing more than forever sounds right." And suddenly, the entire soap world exhaled in unison. For fans who have watched Cait perform heartbreak, resilience, confusion, and joy on screen for years, seeing her embrace a moment of real happiness felt like a victory. But behind the photo, behind the delicate sparkle of the ring, lies a story rich enough to fill an album. A tale of 2 artists who found rhythm in each other's presence at a time when life felt loud and unsteady. A musician known in their close-knit Los Angeles circle for his unpretentious brilliance, never chased showy fame. Instead, he moved like a man who understood emotion the way a painter understands color, intuitively, instinctively, with an awareness that creation is more about truth than trend. And when he and Cait met, it wasn't fireworks that marked the moment. It was something quieter, a hum, a recognition, a resonance. You know when a chord resolves and everything suddenly feels right. Cait once said in an interview about songwriting, "Falling in love felt like that." Those words read differently now. They feel prophetic. Their love grew the same way her songs often do, a slow layering of emotion, one soft note, one vulnerable lyric, one tiny spark of courage at a time. They shared late-night writing sessions, swapping unfinished phrases. They laughed over jokes only to artists who have wrestled with self-doubt could appreciate. They built a private universe where tenderness was the language and creativity the heartbeat. According to friends, the engagement didn't come out of nowhere. They've been each other's person for a while. One confidant supposedly whispered with a knowing smile, "The type of love that doesn't need grand gestures to prove itself." Still, when the proposal came, it stunned Cait in the very best way. The moment unfolded during a quiet weekend retreat outside of Ojai, on a trail peppered with oak trees that filtered the afternoon sun into golden shards. Cait had wandered slightly ahead, humming a melody into her phone, a habit her fiancé adored. And when she turned around, he wasn't right behind her like he usually was. He was on one knee. A small velvet box opened like an invitation to forever. There were no crowds, no photographers, no theatrics, just the rustle of the wind, the soft shock in Cait's eyes. and a love strong enough to make the world feel still, a rare occurrence in the life of a woman used to scripts, schedules, and soundstages. She cried before she spoke, the good kind of tears. The kind that crack open joy so pure it feels like light. Yes, she whispered. Not shouted, not sung, whispered as if preserving the intimacy of the moment mattered more than anything else. And perhaps it did. When they walked back down the trail, hand in hand, the ring catching small bits of amber light, Cait felt a shift inside her, a settling, a clarity, a sense that life was no longer something she was racing through. It was something she was building, intentionally, with someone who saw her beyond the roles, beyond the lyrics, beyond the bright expectations of fandom, someone who saw her as Cait, someone who loved her as Cait. Just like that, the quiet engagement softened into something symphonic, romantic, harmonic, pure harmony. In fact, but every great love story has chapters, and Cait's didn't begin with the proposal. It began much earlier, in a moment so ordinary neither of them realized it was the first beat of their future. Where their song began, long before the engagement, before the ring glinted under the high sun. Cait and her musician fiancé moved through life on parallel tracks to artists orbiting similar spaces without ever colliding. Los Angeles is full of such missed connections, actors who never cross paths with their favorite screenwriters, singers who unknowingly share cafe space with future collaborators. But for Cait and the man who would one day ask her to marry him, fate had a slightly more deliberate hand. It started with music. Of course it did. Cait had always spoken about music as if it were her first language. Acting was a passion, yes, but songwriting, that was soul work. And her fiancé felt the same way about sound. His own compositions lived somewhere between indie folk and cinematic soundscapes. The type of music that anchors a scene or sparks a memory. Their meet, fittingly, took place in a recording studio in Silver Lake, a small, warmly lit space that smelled faintly of cedar, coffee, and worn-in leather. Cait had been invited to collaborate on a project with a friend, a musician who swore she needed to meet this brilliant but humble composer. She almost canceled the session. She'd been emotionally exhausted that week, juggling scripts, revisions, and a brewing storyline on why and are that demanded daily vulnerability. But she went. And that decision rewrote everything. He was seated at the mixing desk when she walked in, hair pulled back, sleeves rolled to the elbows, quietly adjusting levels with a focus that bordered on meditative. He didn't turn right away. Sound came first. But when he did, something in his expression flickered. Not recognition, not surprise, something gentler, like a spark brushing against oxygen. "You must be Cait," he'd said, voice low, warm, and edged with the quiet confidence of a man who didn't need to impress anyone. "And you're the musical wizard I've heard about," she replied. He laughed, a soft, unguarded sound, and it marked the beginning. Their collaboration was supposed to be brief. A single afternoon spent refining a melody, but the session stretched into hours. The room filled with half-finished harmonies, playful disagreements over lyrics, shared laughter, and the unmistakable electricity of two artists discovering unexpected creative synergy. She liked the care he took with her voice. He liked the fearlessness with which she chased emotion. When she recorded her final take of a particularly raw lyric, she caught him watching her, not the way some men look at women in studios, sizing them up, evaluating. No, his gaze held admiration, respect, wonder. The moment landed softly between them, a connection, unspoken, but real. Nothing romantic sparked immediately. Both were cautious people, thoughtful, private, intuitive. Instead, they built a friendship that threaded itself through their lives with surprising ease. They texted about new music releases, bizarre dreams, and their shared hatred of overly bright studio lights. They swapped voice memos of half-formed melodies. They grabbed matcha or coffee before work. They attended each other's small gigs, the kind tucked into tiny rooms with mismatched chairs and acoustic warmth, humming through the walls. Through it all, something deeper began weaving itself underneath their interactions, invisible, but undeniable. Cait couldn't pinpoint the exact moment she realized she liked him more than a friend. Maybe it was the evening they sat on a rooftop after a show, city lights glittering beneath them, and he confessed that he sometimes struggled with imposter syndrome. Or maybe it was the morning he sent her a snippet of a song he'd composed after hearing her describe a dream. Maybe it was the way he listened. Maybe it was the way he listened, truly listened. As if her words were chords he wanted to arrange carefully. He didn't push. He didn't pretend. He simply showed up. And Cait, who had spent years navigating the performative nature of Hollywood, the masks, the smiles, The constant demand to be on found comfort in his authenticity. Their slow-burn romance blossomed naturally, like a song unfolding in its own time. A touch here, a shared glance there, a moment where their hands brushed and neither pulled away. Friends noticed. Even the studio dogs noticed. But Cait and her future fiancé existed in their own rhythm, completely unaware of the quiet inevitability pulling them closer. The shift from friendship to something more happened not with fireworks but with honesty. One night, after a show where he watched her perform a stripped-down version of a new song, he found her backstage, tuning her guitar. "That last one you sang, was it about someone?" he asked. She hesitated, fingers lingering on the strings. "It might be," she admitted. "And is that someone here tonight?" Her heartbeat stuttered. She looked up. Yes. The moment rested between them, fragile but powerful, the point where their melody changed key. He stepped closer, not enough to overwhelm, just enough to make intention clear. "Then I'm really glad I came." Their first kiss was soft, unhurried, and full of the kind of emotion that doesn't need validation. And from that moment on, their love story no longer whispered, it sang. But even the most beautiful song deepens with conflict, risk, and the courage to choose each other again and again, something Cait and her fiancé would come to understand. Intimately, I. Love in a world of lights, scripts and soundtracks. Dating as actors or musicians is tricky. Dating as both in Los Angeles, no less, can feel impossible. Schedules collide, careers demand unpredictability, creativity doesn't run on a timetable, and privacy is an elusive luxury. But Cait and her fiancé navigated these challenges with a surprising grace that became one of the hallmarks of their relationship. Part of it stemmed from their shared understanding of artistic life, the highs of inspiration, the lows of self-doubt, the deep emotional currents that shape creative people. They communicated with unusual honesty for a new couple. If Cait had an emotionally demanding day on set, she said so. If he needed time to focus on a score or project, he voiced it openly. No games, no mystery, just respect. They developed small rituals to stay connected despite busy lives. Each morning, they sent each other a voice memo, sometimes a silly joke, sometimes a lyric neither wanted to forget, sometimes just a sleepy good morning. On Fridays, if their schedules allowed, they cooked dinner together. He handled spices like a scientist. She improvised like a jazz musician. Somehow, the meals always turned out surprisingly good. Then there were the hikes. Long ones, short ones, impulsive ones. Nature grounded them. The quiet gave them space to talk, dream, or simply walk hand in hand. Cait once said in an interview that love feels like finding someone whose frequency matches your own. Her fiancé's frequency, it turned out, resonated with hers uncannily. Still, their relationship wasn't without challenges. As Cait's prominence on Y&R grew, so did public attention. Fan enthusiasm was warm but relentless. People wanted photos, updates, insights. Some even followed her personal social media, trying to decode clues about her love life. Her fiancé, though proud of her success, wasn't built for spotlight culture. He loved music, not attention. Instead of letting that difference divide them, they created boundaries together, choosing which moments to share publicly and which to protect fiercely. Their relationship became a sanctuary, not a performance, and it worked. Their families loved them as a couple. Their friends adored them. Collaborators found them inspiring. Their love wasn't dramatic, it wasn't turbulent, it was steady, warm, intentional, a harmony that grew more intricate with time. And then came a period that challenged them in ways neither expected. A crossroads of career changes, personal growth, and a question that would echo into their future. Were they ready to take the next step? Spoiler, they were. But the road there became one of the most profound parts of their story. For the proposal that captured their future, the decision to propose wasn't impulsive, not for him. He'd been quietly planning for months, trying to choose a moment that felt meaningful, authentic, and intimate enough to reflect who they were as a couple. He considered proposing in a recording studio. Poetic, yes, but too predictable. He thought about a candlelit dinner, romantic, but too performative. He briefly contemplated involving family but dismissed the idea immediately. Their love thrived in quiet spaces. It deserved a proposal rooted in stillness, not spectacle. In late autumn, he booked a weekend getaway in Ojai, a place Cait adored for its peaceful trails, mystical light, and citrus-scented air. He hid the ring in a pocket of his guitar case, praying she wouldn't notice the unusual care he was taking around his luggage. The ring itself was perfect for her, elegant, understated, classic, a round diamond set in a thin gold band. reflecting how Cait valued authenticity over extravagance. The morning of the proposal, he suggested a hike. Cait agreed instantly, blissfully unaware that the day was about to become one she'd remember for the rest of her life. The trail was quiet, the air cool. Cait hummed as she walked, a soft melody she'd been toying with for days. He knew the tune by now. He'd heard her work through it, shape it, refine it. He loved that about her, how she carried fragments of songs in her pockets like precious stones. At one point, she drifted ahead, recording the melody on her phone. He slowed, hands trembling slightly. He slipped the ring box from his jacket, exhaled, and whispered internally, "Okay, this is it." When Cait turned around and saw him kneeling, the world narrowed to a single moment, timeless, glowing, tender. She let out a breath she didn't even realize she'd been holding. He spoke softly, beautifully, from the heart. He told her she made him braver, kinder, happier. He told her loving her felt like hearing a song he didn't know he'd been waiting for. Cait's hands flew to her mouth. Her eyes shimmered. "Yes," she whispered through tears. They held each other for long, quiet minutes, the kind of embrace that feels like a vow in itself. When they returned from their hike, they didn't go straight to posting on social media or calling press outlets. Instead, they spent the evening wrapped in blankets, drinking tea, and talking about everything and nothing. Later, as stars winked above them in the deep Ojai sky, Cait nestled against him and said, "This feels like home." He kissed her hair. It is a love story still being written, approximately equals 1,800 words. Engagements are not endings, they're beginnings. And for Cait Fairbanks, this next chapter promises to be rich with artistry, growth, and joy. Professionally, Cait continues to flourish. Her work on Y&R remains deeply valued by fans and producers alike. Tessa Porter's storylines have broken ground, weaving LGBTQ+ representation into the heart of daytime drama with sincerity and heart. Personally, her engagement opens a new creative dimension. Those who know her well believe this will inspire some of the most emotional music she's ever written, not just love songs, but songs about commitment, vulnerability, and stepping into a future brighter than she imagined. Her fiancé, too, is thriving. His compositions are gaining traction. Producers seek him out not for flash but for soul, something he has in abundance. Their relationship is expected to stay relatively private, but insiders say they already feel like a married couple. Their home is filled with plants, books, unfinished songs, coffee mugs they definitely don't need more of, and 2 lives braided together with ease. Wedding planning, they've only just begun. Friends predict an intimate ceremony somewhere with trees, soft light, and space for music to float freely. No ballroom, no spectacle, something poetic, earthy, intentional. Cait, ever the artist, is rumored to be writing a song for the ceremony. He is, too. Whether they'll unveil them to each other or keep them private remains to be seen, but the idea alone feels achingly romantic. Fans everywhere have reacted with overwhelming joy. Social media exploded with congratulations, tribute videos, edits of Tessa and Mariah scenes paired with romantic music, and heartfelt messages from fans who have followed Cait since her early days. Many credit her with helping them understand themselves more deeply, a testament to the beautiful impact of her art. And maybe that's what makes her engagement feel so significant. It isn't just a celebrity announcement, it's a reminder. A reminder that love, real, grounded, gentle love, still exists in a world often defined by chaos. A reminder that 2 creative souls can find harmony without sacrificing individuality. A reminder that growth doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks like 2 artists sharing a morning coffee. Sometimes it looks like a voice memo saying "miss you." Sometimes it looks like a ring catching afternoon sunlight on a quiet trail, marking the start of something that already felt destined. This is Cait Fairbanks' love story, not a storyline crafted by writers, not a fantasy projected by fans, but a real, breathing, beautiful chapter of her life, one overflowing with tenderness, creativity, and the kind of connection that doesn't fade with time. Her engagement is more than romantic news, it is the beginning of a lifelong duet. And if their past is any indication, the music they create together, both literally and figuratively, will be nothing short of breathtaking.